Is OLED monitor burn-in a thing? Yes, it is. And you are going to spend a lot of money on an OLED. Can you notice a difference? For some, yes. For others, no. But the big question here is, do you want to spend big bucks and have burn-in? If you enjoy this type of content, you can throw me a thanks. It's completely free by doing everything that's up here. Like, share, subscribe, and of course, hit the notification bell and comment. OLED monitors have become extremely popular, especially amongst gamers. Picture quality and response time are, well, I wouldn't say off the chart, but they are very, very high, because once you look at an OLED next to a regular IPS or another panel, you can tell the difference almost right away. However, if you don't compare it to an OLED, if you're not going to be able to tell the difference. And to be fair, I overall, bang for the buck, still prefer IPS displays. You know, refresh rates, if you want, something ridiculous, you're probably going to have to go with some fancy, super, uber expensive OLED display. However, keep in mind that burn-in is a problem, but MSI has this Clear 2.0 system. And what it does is it kind of shifts the pixels, right? So with pixel shifting and static image detection, it prevents burn-in for the most part. Now, to be fair, this is MSI saying that there's basically no burn-in. Basically none doesn't mean none. It means basically none. So who knows? Maybe there's a little bit of burn-in, but nothing that maybe the human eye could detect because of this Clear 2.0 system, which shifts the pixel and has this AI, static image detection thing built into it. And this display in particular is the MSI 271QRQD OLED X50, if you're wondering which display is. But this display and other displays like it cost a lot of money. Like, we're talking over $1,000. Now, over time, the prices might come down. So, this 533 days, the MSI did the test, and they said there's basically no burn-in. However, according to this article here, some independent tests show faint burn-in at around 600 to 700 hours of use. Now, again, that's a lot of use. But if you are, for example, doing this professionally, gaming that is, or I guess if you're using the display for work and it's on all the time, is this the thing to go for? Probably not. You don't want to have burn-in, right? That's just part and parcel of an OLED or the OLED technology. So you have to make your own mind up on that. But, it's kind of weird because you pay so much for something and eventually it's going to fail. It's just how quickly will it fail? And is that something that you're going to be always worried about? Because if it is, not, you want to turn your display, really not worry about it, right? But with this kind of technology, I don't think you have too much to worry about, according to independent tests and as well MSI. Now, MSI has a newer OLED Care 3.0, and that technology uses a sensor to detect when a user is actually present. So if the user is not there, I suspect the screen, I guess, turns off. I'm not too sure about that. If you have one of these displays, you can chime in right here. It says here, MSI's OLED Care 3.0 utilizes a CMOS sensor paired with an NPU, capturing images every 0.2 seconds to detect whether the user is present. When the user steps away, the monitor either starts its burn-in protection cycle or powers off automatically. It's one of the features that is actually in this particular display, the one that I mentioned. So that's a bit of a correction there. Actually, I don't know if it does. I mean, the one I mentioned earlier, because there is an MSI 271QR, and I think this one is an MSI MPG 27 one QR. If that's the case, it is extremely confusing. So what do you think? Do you think 600 or 700 or 800 hours is enough of a lifespan out of a very, very expensive OLED display? It's a lot of hours. However, some people spend thousands and thousands of hours in a short period of time, whether they're gaming or just on their computer system. Some people are on their systems for literally 15 hours plus a day. If you're doing that, well, more than likely, after those 700, 800 hours, you're probably going to have a little bit of burn-in. I guess the question now remains is, do you have an OLED? And if you don't, are you thinking about getting one, considering, burn-in is inevitable?